lot going on. And so we are broadcasting live on the mighty radio station here in Pattaya, which is 95 FM, or on our wonderful, gorgeous, brand new app, TheSpot.fm. Also, what other channels are we on? What other YouTube channels are we on?
Walking My Shoes Thailand.
Oh, awesome. As well as Live My Ass Off, as it turns out. So that's kind of cool.
Are we on BKK?
We're not on BKK.fm. We're gonna be kind of keeping it Pattaya.
Okay.
Today, yeah. So
and
that's good.
Yeah, and we're at the studio.
Studio, yeah, along with Phil Collins, because he's our buddy, and we're gonna be doing this definitely on Saturdays, maybe Sundays. We also talked about Wednesday actually last week. Yeah. And last week we were at 1669 restaurant, which is down in South Jomtien. Do you have a speaker on somewhere?
I do.
I need to actually verify that we are on the air, as a good engineer normally would. Oh, look at that. YouTube actually sent me a notification. Wow, this is like...
Well, we are on the spot, and we are on Walking in My Shoes Thailand. And if you guys are tuning in on Walking My Shoes Thailand, be sure to go to the Spot FM or the Spot Thailand YouTube.
That is a great point.
Check it out, because we're going to be doing comments and all that stuff from the Spot.
Absolutely. I tell you what, let's do this, because you shot this really cool video of our brand new truck, brand new to us. So let's let's check this out. That will really kick the show off.
Hey guys, I'm Robbie with the Spot FM, and here's Mikes in the back. Whoop, whoop. You see the Spot truck around, flag the driver. Maybe we'll give you a ride, maybe we won't. Download the app, I'm sure you'll get a ride. So yeah, we're gonna be cruising up and down Beach Road, Pattaya Beach Road, Jomtien. Be sure to check us out. Again, here's some good vibes on Pattaya's #1 radio station, The Spot FM. Download the app today. Use that QR code right there.
A few moments later.
Hotline Radio, 95 FM Pattaya.
95 FM, The Spot.
I want to remind you guys that we have a brand new app. It was so easy for me to just go right to our Facebook page from inside the app with just one click while listening to great Spot music that, of course, you hear at 95 FM. So, my friends, do me a favor. Just go to thespot.fm, download the brand new app, and also, please, if you're in a car, a Bolt, or a Grab, and you're driving around Pattaya, ask the driver, please, tune in to 95 FM, The Spot. FM 95. 95 FM.
Boom.
So that, of course, was a video that if you were on YouTube at The Spot Thailand, YouTube Live My Ass Off, or YouTube Walking... What is the actual URL for your YouTube channel?
Walking in My Shoes Thailand.
Walking in My Shoes Thailand. Okay, cool. And so, of course, what we're doing, right, is that we're on the radio. And so you're going to hear, like, some stuff that, of course, there's no accompanying video that's in your dash on your FM radio. But as you might guess, we are new to Pattaya. We're the brand new radio station in town, and one of the things that you may have seen driving around the beaches was the truck that Robbie was showing you the other day, or in that video. And so, but what we're gonna do, we're gonna talk a little bit about basically moving to Thailand, right?
Yeah.
Because you got a buddy who's here, and he doesn't like moving permanently, but I mean he's showing up and he's like on vacation for a month.
Yeah, he's here on holiday for a full month, and hopefully he's listening or watching right now. So Jimmy, I'll give him the quick shout out. You met him yesterday.
He was in the Spot Bus.
Yes, and he was also on that video. And the dude is 6'8".
Yeah, talk to me about his economy seat. I'm really curious what that must have felt like. Did he make any comments on that?
So this is a great pro tip, guys. When if you are going through... My mic is kind of messed up. Okay.
Yours, it's your head. Trust me, it's not your mic. It's your headphones.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're going to A&A or United and you're that big of a person, talk to them when you get to the counter. This is what I told Jimmy. Let them know how big you are. They'll see it. And then a lot of times they'll upgrade you or put you next to the aisle seat or the window seat with the emergency exit.
Yeah, those are the key. That's where the leg room kind of shows up. It's nice.
And sure enough, he went there and got his new seat, and he was excited about it. And there you go.
Was he aisle or window in emergency exit row? Do you
So
remember?
he had told me he was on window. I believe that was just ANA. So he had a split flight, meaning he did the first 11 hours to Tokyo from California.
Oh, so he went through. Okay.
Yeah, and then he had a 3-hour layover, and then came over through Narita to Bangkok.
Where
which
did
is
he-
what, 5 hours? 6
Pretty
hours?
much, yeah. I think that's been my experience. Tokyo down. If so, when did he leave LAX? Is that where he was coming out of?
Yeah, he went through LAX and came straight there.
Nice, man.
Yeah,
That's
and,
cool.
and what was cool is he was an hour delay on his layover, but he still really wasn't all that late because I was at the airport, and he was pretty much there at
Was he the
1:30.
Was he the one that you said came in early?
No, that was my friend John and his brand new wife.
Oh, cool.
So they came in the same day, and they're partying in Phuket right now.
Oh,
so
they
they will
cruised
see
all the
this
way.
later
Okay,
because
got
they
it.
do follow the videos. They do follow Walking in My Shoes. So they'll see this, hopefully. So we're talking about you guys, John. And we had a good time in Bangkok for the first 3 days. And Jimmy was also with us. And we did a lot in 3 days. I mean, there was a lot to do. But you know what? Bangkok, you can get through the
It's-
main stuff pretty quick.
Well, and there's just like, again, but there's so much to do, right? Like people are
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I live in Bangkok, right? When you ask them like, oh yeah, I know about Thailand. Where do you live? I live in Bangkok. Well, Bangkok's a big place, right?
Yeah,
It's like
it's-
saying you
it's
live in
big.
New York City. It's like, okay, well, there's 5 boroughs, right? So what did you guys, tell me a little bit about like sort of the tourist experience that you guys were having when you were up there.
Yeah, so one of the things I like to do on Walking My Shoes Thailand is I offer these little tour trips in which you can meet me in November, right about the Thanksgiving week, which is this next week. And I take groups around. And we ended up going to we didn't do Ancient City. We did Elawan Museum.
Okay.
That was awesome. That's a
Erewhon,
big
which
giant.
is, what area would that be? Would you,
Just,
I mean, it's at the end of the BTS.
yeah, past Bang Na.
Or not the end of it. The end of it actually is Ancient City, right? But the end of, yeah. So, okay.
So we're real close to Ancient City, though. And then we did that, and then we did
And if you
King
guys-
Power Building.
And that is an amazing thing. But so Erewhon, if you were looking for a landmark, basically is it 3 or 4-headed elephant?
Yeah,
It's
the
4.
three-headed,
Is
yeah.
it 3?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it's 3-headed elephant. You can see it actually right as you're driving or
Yeah,
as you're
it's
cruising
pretty
past
cool.
in the BTS. It's really neat. And now these guys arguably are a little bit spiritual, right? So I mean, they weren't like, okay, this is weird. Like I'm bored. Let's go to a strip club, right? I mean, they were like, wow, this is a new experience.
Well, this I only took Jimmy and myself and Kitty went.
Okay.
And then before that, I hung out as a group with all 3 of us the first day in Bangkok. Basically, we go to Icon Siam, which is the newest, coolest mall. And I'd love for them to advertise on the air right now. So if you're listening to Icon, let's go.
Icon Siam. You
Yeah.
want them to advertise, do you? I think that would be great.
That'd be awesome.
I would love Mercedes-Benz to give me a free car every Saturday. That would be
Yeah.
excellent.
So-
I would love that, though.
Yeah, so if you guys know anybody who wants to advertise and you're watching on YouTube, you can look at our screen right
Please.
now.
Yeah.
And you'll see it. But anyways, we did do the whole Icon Siam. We went to some Michelin star restaurants, which was awesome.
Name a couple, because I don't know. I don't have like that, that knowledge or that book.
Well, the Ginger Farm was one of them, and that's about the only name I know.
Ginger, is that the one in True Digital, or is
The
that
True Digital is also a
Okay.
Michelin.
Yeah.
And then they have Okachu. That's also another one. We didn't do that one,
That's
but that
a
is one.
Michelin star?
Yep.
How does that work? Is it a binary thing? Is it one Michelin star or none, or is it like 1, 2, 3?
So you get Michelin recognized, which is right before you start getting your stars, and I'm not sure how the stars work.
okay.
Correct.
They
And-
must have a display though. They're like, hey, look at us. We have.
Look how great we are.
It's like the whole hotel. You go in and they
Yeah.
have this thing from Agoda that they obviously just printed on an inkjet printer and then removed the 7 and changed it to a 9.
just like TripAdvisor, like Wombat. Wombat is a TripAdvisor premium restaurant.
What does that mean?
It just means it has all 5 stars. It means
Okay.
It's the best place, the coolest place to
'Cause,
go. It
I
means
mean-
people love it there. And it's a cool place. I don't know if it's, it's not premium, but it's a great place to go to.
Here's the downside is that I don't know about you, but like for me, I only remember like certain things or whatever. Numbers, very easy for me to remember. Names, that sort of thing, I'm not good at it. My point is that I was at Wombat the other day and I had a number 12. I had the burger that is number 12. I have absolutely no clue what
Is it
it's
a
called.
Berkey?
No, it wasn't a Berkey, and I
Okay.
didn't have it for Breaky because I'm not from Australia, so I don't everything. Stevie. And but it was really good. It had, I want to say 3 patties. And the reason I bought it is because they talked, I guess there's like this really awesome like Australian beef. It's not like Wagyu or Ragu. Maybe they take the meat out of the Ragu spaghetti sauce and then that becomes Wagyu. I don't know.
Okay.
But the point is that it was like 360 grams. And it was like 150, 160 baht. And I got it because another one that was only 180 grams was also like 160, 180 baht kind of thing.
Wow, that's a big burger.
So I naturally wanted more, right, for my money because I'm an addict.
Well, if Steve is on the air right now, he has been playing us every morning.
that's right.
If he is on the air and you want to pop on YouTube, send us a chat message through the Spot Thailand YouTube channel and let everybody know, and you got a free shout out right there. It's
well,
huge.
yeah, and to find out like what the silly number 12 is called. Actually, I see Mitch is on here. Maybe Mitch knows because I know that he's got some experience over at the Wombat, as do a lot of other expats.
It might not always be the best experience, but it's a great experience.
It is interesting because when I was by there, it was kind of funny because I know why they do this, right? Because it's incredibly sunny in an afternoon. But like when we drove by on the Spot Bus, for example, a couple times yesterday, they have the I don't know, you don't call them banners. I guess basically like the curtains, right, or whatever, down because of the sun.
Yep.
And it's a double-edged sword because one of the reasons you go there, of course, is to watch the sunset. But until the sun is set, it's like,
it's blazing.
It's blazing. But again, that's why we move here, right? I didn't move here for the downhill luge.
Dude, today was cold. 78 degrees.
Dude, was that what it was in Fahrenheit? Because I saw the dash. It was 25 degrees.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know about you, but for our air conditioner, like in our condo, wherever we live, 25 is literally the coolest we ever have the air conditioner. Yeah. Last night it was on 27, and Gracie was a little hot, so she threw the fan on. But usually I'm like a 26, 27 guy.
If I tell you where I have mine, don't slap me.
Are you like you're like in the 2021? You have like ice forming on your cooler, don't you?
We had 18.
Well, okay, so I don't get that. Like, because do you have like 3 comforters, or do you just?
I think it was just a mistake, honestly, because it was freezing. And then last night it was so cold. I'm like, okay, I'm backing off. Kitty, where's the remote? And
then you just went to. So what do you prefer? Like normally, like if you're over at a hotel or something, what do you?
I'm about 24. 24. I'm blowing on me. I like a fan, man. Who doesn't like a fan?
No,
I like the
fan.
Sound, the hum.
Right. Yeah. No. Exactly.
Yeah, I can't sleep with the TV or radio on.
No.
However, if I did sleep with the radio on, it would be the Spot.fm.
So you know what's interesting about that is that I used to be able 23 right now, Mariano. Oh my God, dude, that is like freezing cold. Okay, so hold on. The number 5. Brekkie in a bun is the Wombat breakfast sandwich. So that's the brekkie, right? But like the 12 is as far as a burger. I don't know whether they have like different. I don't know whether like just every single item has like a number. Like whether like a soda is like a 96 or something.
Well, I think the Spot built their website too. So the website might say it, but I'm not sure.
The Wombat website?
Yeah.
Well, let me check that out. It's Wombat and Kiwi, right? WombatandKiwi.com.
Wombat and Kiwi. Man, this guy's getting all sorts of promotions right now.
Yeah, I know, exactly, right? View our menu. All right, I will do that.
All right, let's see.
Anyway, so if you're from around here and you're listening on 95 FM, you're pretty, I'm confident you know exactly what we're talking about because we're talking about the Wombat and Kiwi Bar, of course, in Jomtien Beach. Okay, so the number 12, oh, thank you. I actually saw you write that, and I was like, what do you mean by that? There we go. Bring back the biff. Naturally, Mariano, Slim, knows exactly what the biggest burger is on the menu.
Mariano's shrinking before our very eyes.
So what's funny, right? So Gracie says to me the other day, she's like, has Mariano lost weight? And I was like, I think he has. Yes. Which is, I got to tell you, I would submit it's easier to do that here in Thailand. Don't you think?
I hope so because I'm going to be on that mission, guys.
Well, again, if I ate Western food, that's the curse, right? Is you come over here and you kind of get in the mood and you're like, you know what? I'm going to go grab like a burger or something like that. And you're like, wow, that was pretty good. Now I'm going to go grab pizza. Now I'm going to go grab lasagna. And then after a while, you're like, wait a minute, I'm as massive as I was in the United States with all that high fructose corn syrup.
Fatty, man.
I want to talk about 17 in Surin and how Dave is trying to lure me up to his housewarming on December 9th. And that better be a warm... Dude, okay, I had the heat on in the car driving over here this morning. This is how modern my car is that it's an Asian car that actually has heat. Normally they don't, right?
It's a Mazda.
Well, that's true, it's a Mazda.
It's American Asian.
How often do you think I get in there and I say the words, zoom, zoom?
Never.
You don't think?
No.
I don't know. Commercials work. Advertising works. I follow that. I follow that paradigm. Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Mariano. Wombatandkiwi.com/r-menu. And I was checking it out, yeah. And when it said bring back the beef for 160, that was why I remembered your comment.
Bring back the biff.
You see, I don't get that. Is biff like slang in Australia for beef?
The only thing I know biff from is from that movie.
Thank you. 88 miles an hour.
Boom.
Indeed.
Who can say what movie that is? Who can chat it in the chat box right now? I'm not going to say a word.
I bet nobody knows because every single one of our listeners is like under 25 degrees Celsius.
We got Gotta Love Thailand.
Dave's
we
an
love
expert.
Dave, man. We haven't seen him in a while. Dave, where you been?
He's at home. He's at home, and it's 17 degrees where he's at. That's just like crazy. Yeah, so I know we're really small, honey, but what we're doing is we're trying out the studio here, and we're doing a couple of things. Not the least of which is to check out like right below us, right? So what's neat about this is that we have the ability to naturally. Mitch got it first. Back to the Future. Look at this guy nailing it.
Boom.
Michael J. Fox is interesting, right? Because, of course, I don't know about you, but I basically saw him first in Family Ties, right? So then he does that. And then, he does a couple of... And then, of course, Back to the Future. And then I don't know where along the way, you discover from the news that he's got a disability, right? He's got... I don't know whether it's Parkinson's or... I'm totally ignorant to that.
Yes, it is.
Is it Parkinson's?
Yes.
Okay.
And I got to work with the foundation, so I got to be part of the website team for...
That's a tough thing, right?
It was actually pretty tough. So myccpa, I think it's called, .com, and the Michael J. Fox Foundation. So I got to work with the website team, so that's kind of cool.
Is that probably one of the highest sort of earning, if you will, 501c3s for that disease? Because I know like ALS, they struggle to get cash. But I'm sure, like Parkinson's, maybe Parkinson's is a little bit more common, such that like there's more donations to it. Is it like one of those thermometers on the website where you can like see how much people?
No, I haven't checked the website in years, man. It's been about 5 years since I had the honor to kind of hang out with these guys.
That's kind of cool.
Actually, it's like 10 years.
How much time does he spend like sort of doing that? I mean, is that sort of like his? Is it a part-time gig for him, or is he full tilt boogie into that?
I think he does nothing at this point.
Really?
Yeah, Parkinson's got him.
Oh, that's too bad. I mean, I can understand that, right? I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, okay, well, I can only do so much.
But we love him. I love Teen Wolf.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was good, too. You're right. Okay, so what do we got over here? I'm going to actually do this so that we can see the comments a little better. 79 degrees in wow, no way I'm going to be able to pronounce that. Long An Can Giok. Is that how you pronounce it? Giouc in Vietnamese? 79, huh? I don't know. I actually have switched to Celsius. I just realized that. That's crazy. I'm just like so modern, dude. That's just like crazy. Hey guys, if you're listening to us here in Pattaya, you're probably hopefully and listening on 95 FM. That would be amazing. We are the brand new radio station in town. However, if you are out of the Pattaya region, let's say you're down in Rayong, or you're way up in, or you're in Phuket for that matter, because Robbie has a buddy who's over there in Phuket. Just go to TheSpot.fm, download our brand new app, and we have a link there for Google as well as Apple, and so you guys can check us out there. And the nice thing about that is that if you want to listen to us and you're like kind of in the mood for some rock and roll, well, then you can just lower left-hand corner, click on the BKK.FM icon, and you're listening to rock and roll. So let's talk a little bit about our ride yesterday, when we were riding around in the Spot Bus.
I love the Spot Bus, guys.
It's pretty cool. I will tell you. So it's a buddy of ours, right? So his name's Michael, and he's a fellow radio guy here in town. And so since I'm a radio guy, then we do radio. And so he's got these buses. And you probably can't tell just because it's, they did a fairly decent job with the magnets, is that those things come off. So when it's not the Spot Bus.
The decals on the side of the
the
truck.
Yeah. Sorry. And but when we have it, which for us is basically yesterday, which is most of the day Friday, and then today we'll be cruising around the beaches from about noon.
Turning heads. Holy cow. That was amazing.
It was interesting, right? Because, of course, I was thinking to myself, okay, well, when I was in high school and I needed to, like, impress girls, then I put big speakers in my car and I cranked it up with the windows down, even though it was 10 degrees outside and it had been Boston. And I would drive around with the radio. I was like, okay. But around here, it's like, that's like a cool thing to do.
It was pretty cool.
People were like dance. Did you see the thing that I find the most?
It wasn't just the lady boys either.
No. Like it was the
7-Eleven.
It was the police department.
Yes,
and thank God for that, right? Because I mean, so guys, if you don't know, like basically we have a startup here, right? Yes, it's a radio station, and of course that paradigm is like fairly old, if you will. But like what we're doing and what we're trying to do is we have like, you know, these new ideas, and obviously FM or radio in air quotes isn't just the FM transmitter, right? We need to be on Facebook and YouTube as we're doing right now, for example, right?
Yeah.
And so we're cruising around, we're trying new things, and I thought to myself, all right, I'll tell you what, let's cruise around with this thing with the massive speakers in the back. Let's see what happens. And someone says to me, they're like, oh yeah, well make sure you go get a permit. And I'm like, oh great.
Oh, did we have a permit?
No.
Or you can't say anything?
No, we don't have one. But I will tell you here. But to be fair, here's what we do have. So this truck actually has blue plates on it. Now everyone pretty much knows what a red plate is, right?
Yeah.
Brand new vehicle, brand new motorbike. But and then you see the yellow ones, and those are basically like, for example, the bot buses. Those are yellow with black letters. This is white background with blue letters, which basically means commercial. Additionally, they have an additional sticker on the windshield that basically shows that we have insurance, meaning that like people can sit in the back, and I guess if anything happens, then we're covered, right? And so because of that, they see those plates and they're like, oh, okay, well, that's cool. You know, let me just, you guys just go. And then sometimes the police start dancing. I thought that was really cool, dude.
They're doing the head nod. That's for darn sure.
Yeah.
And Kitty and I were sitting in the back loving it.
Totally. It was really fun.
And it wasn't only just lady boys dancing, because everybody was getting into it. And it's definitely a head turner, and it wasn't even the weekend. It was, or is it considered the weekend? Yeah, it's the daytime yesterday.
One could argue that once high season shows up,
there is no weekend.
Pretty much every day that ends in Y is a weekend here in Pattaya. I don't know. That's been my experience for 4 degrees Celsius in Seattle. Dude, who lives there by choice? I can understand why. I mean, there's a lot of cool tech there, but
it's not cheap. I know somebody lives there. His name is Mark.
MarkEden.com.
Yeah, that's him.
Wow, look at him. I love it. I love his icon with the M. That's genius.
That's genius.
Yes. How did he think that up?
Freezing over there. So when you're coming back, Mark, when are you coming back to Thailand? We would all love to know. And then we can give you some pro tips.
So absolutely, that'd be great. So your buddy that came in with his new wife, is this kind of like their honeymoon thing, or are they just traveling?
Yes. So this is their honeymoon, and I helped them set up their itinerary. I helped them with booking. They're going scuba diving. I think tomorrow they'll be scuba diving. I helped them set up their transportation. So it's kind of all that encompassing thing, because in Thailand seems intimidating the first time coming here. You just don't know, like, where do I get my phone, where do I get my cab? And once you do it, it's not that hard.
Was that your experience?
Well, it was intimidating because I didn't know. You don't know what you don't know.
Okay.
And I think most of you guys are going to agree with that. You just don't know until you do it.
It's interesting. I don't know whether it's because, you know, a lot of people use the phrase people don't like change, right? And I adore it.
Yeah,
I love it. Bad change. Like, I don't like it when I'm cruising along the street and all of a sudden I run over. So yesterday we run over a tire. You know, like how the tread rips off the trucks.
In that little car you're in?
And of course, what are you going to do? I'm not going to swerve around it and hit 2 other cars, right? So I got to go straight over the thing.
Well, how about hitting a scooter a 5?
I can't even imagine. I cannot even imagine being on a scooter and hitting like a massive tread from a truck tire. It was just
I drive a
bonkers.
scooter.
Well, I mean, I guess you would call it a scooter. At the end of the day, it's pretty big. It's not like it's a Scoopy, for example, right? You get the 165, right?
Yeah, it's an ADV 160.
160, okay.
Yeah, and Mariano just bought his yesterday.
Oh, he bought one? Well, that's interesting.
Brand new. I should get a commission for that. They should be advertising on the spot.
Well, you know what's funny?
Because it's Mittens or Milton's, whatever Honda dealer here in Pattaya.
Well, because you're like the second or third, or he's now the 3rd generation, right? So in other words, I think Lucas, right, turned you from Ride for Kicks. And thank you, by the way, dude. Big shout out to Lucas for doing basically a mini documentary on the radio station. I was so honored by that. I figured he'd come by and but I absolutely forgot that he's like just really awesome at that. So shout out to Lucas from Ride for Kicks. Additionally, he's going to be having a video coming up about the 17th anniversary that happened on November 17th. The 17th anniversary of Insomnia. If you guys have ever been to Pattaya and you probably have heard of Insomnia Club, that place is pretty iconic for sure, and they're pulling in some really cool DJs.
So is that a place for somebody who's new to go to here in Pattaya? Maybe I take Jimmy. Is that something Jimmy you think might like?
Well, so here's the thing, right? Is that you can go in there, and I mean, if you've been to sort of a B minus discotheque, of course we don't call them that. We call them clubs. But of course, if you call something a club here, then people assume you're going to a strip club. But It's a disco, and it's on the second floor. And if you go there, it's probably like a B or a B minus club in Vegas. So if you've been,
wow.
Yeah. So I mean, if you've been, because let's face it, I mean, the clubs in Vegas are massive. Like XS does, I think, 20 million a month, and no, it's the highest grossing club in the entire world. And Steve Wynn, who him and his partners own the thing, they just did a kick-ass job. So we were over there, and actually we got the whole bottle service nonsense where you have a guy that has absolutely
I love bottle
no personality sitting there basically talking into his wrist, and he's got the ear thing, and he just sits and he removes like the red velvet ropes back and forth. $25,000 for one night for bottle service in this thing. Friggin' ridiculous.
Is that how much the bottle service cost, you mean?
Yeah. So basically, because you're gonna sort of reserve it and have friends over, right? So you're just like, okay, well, what's it gonna cost me? And they're like, well, that's $25,000. It was just stupid. But anyway, that's over the top. And so there's nothing like that here. And I don't even know if you could. You probably have to like really stretch to spend 25,000 baht here in Pattaya. But the interesting thing about it is that I think a guy like Jimmy, I don't know him very well, but I think a guy like Jimmy could actually have an entertaining time there because the music's good. The light show is not any better really than any other place. It's actually quite dull. You and I were there, and then they had that big strip that like goes around.
Yeah.
I don't even know what you call that, but like let's say for the sake of argument, the electronic banner. Right. So that was there. And it was pretty good. Now, iBar downstairs is interesting because first time I was telling Gracie this. First time I went to iBar, it was basically just like another disco on the bottom floor, pretty much. Now they have like pool tables in there, and they opened up the back. Again, this is since I went there first in like 2014. They opened up the back, and they call it the terrace, and it overlooks the water. So that's kind of neat, right? So it's like, but then they got like the whole place, I would say probably has 6 pool tables. Which is sort of interesting because you know how you play pool when there's you got the stick, you're smacking people,
hitting people in the ass,
yeah,
in the butt.
And I'm like, yeah, right. And I'm just like, this is amazing that they did this. So because I say that because if you're not into like super loud music and the whole disco thing, and no one dances downstairs, is that you can go there and you can shoot pool. You can shoot pool with your buddies, and then if you want, you can walk towards the terrace in the back, and then you can take a left. And then you can end in what's called diner or the diner or I diner because, of course, everything they have is branded with I. So there's I bar, insomnia, I salon. They do like hair. And then there's diner, I diner, which is basically a New York diner. And so you can walk right into that and like get some food. And the whole place is open till 7 in the morning.
Wow. Talk about having a hangover.
So as you might imagine, being there at 10 when they first started open, there weren't a whole lot of people.
And all
there.
this is on Walking Street here in Pattaya.
Oh, yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah. So when you're on Walking Street in Pattaya or how to get there, when you take your Bolt, be sure you tell the driver to tune into 95 TheSpot FM. And I'm going to let Mike give us our station ID real quick.
Absolutely. So you're listening to TheSpot.fm, which, of course, is 95 FM in Pattaya. And we're broadcasting live 25 hours a day, 8 days a week. You see what I did just there? And so check us out on TheSpot.fm. Download our brand new app. That would be like totally awesome. But if you're driving around, ask your Bolt driver, ask your Grab driver, say, hey, dude, tune it to 95 because a lot of those guys have radios. Some of them, interestingly enough, do not actually have radios. I've experienced these guys. They have like basically a video screen in their dash.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like
watching YouTube.
Yeah, and oh no, FM. Like no, I don't have that. I don't know how to do that.
I have YouTube.
You talk. I'm just gonna.
Yeah, YouTube is pretty big out here. So I saw that Mark is coming back on the 25th. Hey, Mark, just to let you know, I will actually have another visitor who you know, and that will be Nick. He'll be coming in on the 22nd. Oh. And what's interesting, he's arriving in Jomtien on the 25th. Do you know what's going on the 25th?
So is that the first or the second day of International Fireworks Festival?
Exactly. So International Fireworks Festival is going on the 24th and the 25th here in Jomtien, and it's going to be a madhouse.
Well,
Excuse me, in Pattaya, not Jomtien.
Yeah, Pattaya. All right, so let's give Mark a few pro tips. So, Mark, were you physically coming into Jomtien in the morning? Because that won't be so bad. You try to get down here anytime after about 2 in the afternoon.
Yeah,
you're literally just sitting in the car.
Yeah. So, are we going to have the truck?
So, well, as you know, right, for Fireworks Festival, they block off the entire beach road, right? So it's just humans. Mm-hmm. So that means pretty much Second Road and Bukau are the only places where cars go, and they don't move, right? Which you could argue is cool, right? Because then we get like a lot of people listening to us because we're really loud.
Well, just so you know, I have a reservation at the Red Planet for the 24th, 25th.
Second road?
Yeah.
The one on the back there?
Yep. I booked it because everything was booked up.
Does it
So I
have-
booked it because I had parking. Maybe we could park the truck there, and I have overnight stays. And so if you don't want to go back.
So I think at the end of the day, the infamous radio, we're going to do a site survey. We should absolutely do it and see like where the parking is. Because at the end of the day, it might not fit, right? Like if is it a parking garage?
No, it's a parking spot.
Oh, very nice.
It'll fit.
Oh, that's kind of cool. All right. Well, yeah, we're definitely going to check this out. So if you guys are noticing, you'll notice that my microphone is basically dying. The reason that is because a lot of the equipment we have here in the studio is
Dying?
is dying. So like I get here this morning, I had to swap out the mixer that we had at 1669 the other day, which kind of sounded okay. But we needed to get this like backup mixer, which is basically nothing. And these microphones are okay, but I'm excited to swap them out with some new ones that Robbie brought from the U.S., which, interestingly enough, were the ones that we used at 1669 the other day.
Let's take a look at this.
They're so much nicer, dude. The problem is they're really heavy. So if I put it in this, it like goes like this. It doesn't have tight enough.
So the mic falls down is what we're trying to say.
Yeah, and that's something that I'm working on. There's blue pills that I can take for that I find to be fairly effective, but they give me a hell of a headache.
I'm waiting for Mark to come to get the blue pills.
That would be great. He's gonna bring those over in his luggage. Anything to declare, sir? Yeah, I'm gonna give Robbie a boner.
From Seattle.
Indeed. Yeah, I don't know what the timing is, Mark, but I will tell you that the best time to come down to Pattaya when there is the fireworks festival is pretty much like 6 in the morning. If you're leaving Bangkok, I assume that you're flying into Bangkok, either Don Muang or Suvarnabhumi. If you're flying into Utapao, which of course is the airport sort of down here, then it's not so bad because you're coming kind of from a non-populous area. But coming in from Bangkok at that time, it's brutal. And it's funny too because they don't like block off the beach road all day.
No.
Right, like in the but they do have like food everywhere, which is going to be awesome. I'm really excited for that. It's going to be cool. So yeah, so 24th and 25th. I was told that historically the fireworks festival was sort of to celebrate the king. Now, I don't know whether that's sort of transitioned. I know that, of course, it changed the way it was over COVID, right? Because it used to be the International Fireworks Festival until, of course, no one from outside of the country could come in for 2 years. So it became the Pattaya Fireworks Festival. And they did something. And then they had like a couple countries come in, and it was okay. Last year was pretty good, though.
Yeah, I loved it. I had 4 different countries last year, and this year we're up to 5.
Remind me last year, was it Belgium?
Belgium was
Canada.
Epic.
Right?
I don't remember Canada. It was Belgium, Singapore, Philippines, which was I don't want to say that.
No, they were totally a
It's
disappointment.
a disappointment. The second show they did was great. So how it happens is each country, and there's 5 this year.
Okay, cool.
They get a turn on the first day and on the second day. So in this year, if we only had Google to tell us who
What
the
if we only
countries
had
are-
a global
if we
information network? I want to design one actually here in my spare time.
I know we have the Philippines coming. My understanding, China is going to be participating.
Ah.
Yeah, that'll be fun. They'll put on quite the show. Maybe we'll get some missiles or something. I don't know.
Well, let's hope, right?
One could only hope.
They'll probably just drop hourly workers out of the sky.
But we are, United States is best friends with them now, so maybe U.S. will participate one year. So let's find out.
You think? I don't like watch the news at all. Why was there something that came out that said we're now like crazy ass allies?
I don't know. It's a political. This isn't a political show, guys. As much political as, what's our political here? It's 80s at 8. Thanks, Joe. 80s at 8.
That's about all we do.
That's about as political as war game.
Yeah, sorry.
All right, so here we are on the website. Mike's checking it out. And if you guys want to check it out, it's the tourismthailand.org.
No, there's no real, unless you see. Okay, so here we go. Malaysia, Singapore, Serbia, China, and the Philippines.
Wow.
Serbia?
What
exactly occurs in Serbia? Is there a big vacationing thing there?
There's the world's scariest prison. I saw that on the world's toughest prisons on Netflix.
And do you think because of that, these fireworks are probably going to be stolen? I mean, is that?
I have no idea.
Yeah. I'm actually very curious about like Serbia. I mean, what's their...
It's cold. It's cold. It's landlocked. So if you guys are coming, and if you guys are coming to the fireworks festival, just be prepared. This is the best pro tip right now. Be prepared to walk a lot and eat. And it's okay to stop and eat. Mike and I went to it last year.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he was as surprised as I was of how busy it was. And it was, I loved it. I like the people, but not everybody likes it. So,
do you recall them basically saying that there were 500,000 people there, or did you get a different number that you were presented with?
Number I got was 250,000 people.
Okay. Well, that's probably, that I would say is infinitely more realistic, because let's face it, it was packed.
Well,
But
according to Bangkok, look, we're getting to the news again.
Bangkok News?
Is that this is the number one tourist activity in the whole entire country. They'll get the biggest crowds.
Really?
Yeah. Yep. I saw that online.
To be fair, though, you've been here at New Year's Eve, too, right?
Oh, it's bigger than New Year's Eve by far.
So when
More people.
It must be now, because when I was here and I was like, New Year's Eve was insane. But it was so cool, right? Because
2019, I was here
for New Year's Eve. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
crazy.
that had to have been busy. But you didn't make fireworks festival in 2019?
No, I didn't. I arrived, I think, the day after, and it was dead quiet, and I loved it.
We got here. Oh God, I want to say November 21st, but we did Bangkok and then we were down in Cham, so we weren't over on this side for a while. But I remember doing it in 2021, I think, and it was like I mean, there. For example, you know the area that we walked into, right? You just like walk onto the sand, you know. To do that, you had to have a mask on, and it's like, okay, whatever.
To drive a scooter, you had to have a mask on. Come on.
I still see people doing that.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, okay, is it like an air thing, or are they like, I am so protected at 40 kilometers an hour from those droplets? I am the medical example.
All those tourists coming in.
I don't know. I mean, it just seems kind of weird. I don't see the need for it.
Yeah, we got Fireworks Festival coming up this next weekend. This weekend, there's been a lot of stuff going on. Last night we had some food festival that I ran into right in front of Davari.
Yeah, street festival there.
Am I saying that right? Davari?
Davari, yeah.
Ooh.
See, the interesting thing was, right, so they have that, I would say, probably about every 6 months, because I'm trying to remember when they had it the last time.
Good stuff, guys.
I think it was May.
So good.
And it's cool, right, because they set up that little stage, and then it's just like, it's totally cheap.
And they give awards for these fish dishes, and I ate there last night, and yeah, it was pretty amazing.
Did you have any fish dishes? Because I had a few last time, and I was like, ugh, this is...
No, it was great. I loved it, but maybe... And yeah, I loved it. It was great.
What'd you have for fish? What do you recommend?
So I had an egg omelet with the calamari, the shrimp, which is super fresh, and the clams.
Oh, wow, nice. Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
It was nice. It was very nice, guys. You guys like fish, and it was 60 baht.
Yeah, free,
Cheap.
right? We have
It's
a
cheap.
word for 60 baht meals, don't we, Joe?
So, yeah, and other events going on. Isn't there an Indian festival going on tomorrow night?
So Diwali, right,
Diwali.
which is the annual sort of festival of those folks, I believe that's happening in Pattaya Beach. Is that accurate?
Yes, that's
where I saw the sign,
Yep.
yeah.
And they'll have a show there and dancers and all sorts of stuff.
Now, traditionally, there's a lot of paint thrown around. And so, oh, yeah. Okay, so Diwali, right? So usually, and it's kind of the equivalent of...
Songkran? No.
Songkran, where they not here because it's just a shit show here, but if you go to like sort of the outskirts, let's say, of like the big tourist areas, they do the whole like white paste on your like face and everything.
Yeah, the clay.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of that. That's sort of the but it's with very vibrant colored paint. And so we'll see what happens here. That'd be sort of interesting. But additionally, if you're also down in Jomtien Beach, I mean, we're kind of big fans of Jomtien Beach. We live down there. It's a great place to come to. I got to tell you, especially last night after leaving leaving Pattaya, and again, technically, of course, Jomtien Beach is still Pattaya, but going back to Jomtien Beach last night, and it was like, I don't know, around maybe midnight, not quite midnight, but like there was no traffic, and it was really nice, man. But
I think that's actually a pro tip for people who are coming over and visiting here for a holiday. Instead of staying in Pattaya, stay in Jomtien. The bot buses take you right there.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
You're
There's
into
no
the
downside.
action, and you're on the beach. It's quieter in Jomtien. I mean, I like Pattaya, but you know what? To stay the night somewhere, that's your place. Jomtien is probably the way to go.
I think so too. I mean, they did a lot of work on the beach in the last year, and so it is significantly deeper, right? And so one of the things that they did that I don't particularly like is that where they did deepen, if you will, or the distance between the sidewalk and the water, right? So they basically cruise out into the bay, they suck a whole bunch of sand out of the floor, and then they come in and then they blow it all on the beach, and they pray to God
Miami
that
style.
It doesn't rain, yeah. And so it's nice, and it's a great walking beach. It's really cool. But down at the end, there's no more trees. That was kind of a drag. When I saw them pulling all that out, I thought, oh, man, I hope they replant. Because,
Nope.
I mean, that's what Thais love, right? I mean, they love coming to the beach, but they're not going to do it if there's direct sun.
There's
So that
no
beach is
trees.
empty.
It's
Yeah.
completely just a big block of sand.
Yeah, but I will say there's decent food down there. There's decent food everywhere in Thailand, to be fair. But I mean, in Jomtien, I find that there's like literally everything, right? And the nice thing about the festival that Robbie's talking about, they call it the street food festival, and of course that street food is actually on the sand. But what's cool is like the parking spots right there next to the sidewalk, right? There's just like one street food truck after another. And they have like all the cones set up and everything. It's kind of cool, man. I mean, it's just I don't know. I just find it to be enjoyable. Now, right next to it, right? Did you go over and
Oh
watch?
yeah, so right next to it, you mean the show they had right next to the food festival?
Well, the stand-up paddleboard international competition.
So yeah, what's interesting is this past weekend they had the stand-up paddleboard competition right in front of Divari. Then right next to that they had this food festival, and then next to that they had this Thailand beauty pageant. And we're not talking ladyboys.
Which is too bad, really.
I did ask Kitty. These were all ladies. They're all college students. And it was kind of cool. I did a little short live stream last night for about 5 minutes just to get my gear working. Well, you know what I mean, my gear.
Attaboy. There's pills for that. There's
There is
ointment.
and Mark's going to bring me some pills for
Attaboy.
that
Thank you, Mark.
From Seattle.
Yeah, he'll be a lot happier.
Yeah, so I mean, event after event after event, and there's some other events going on over here. You got the Diwali, as Mike's was talking, that's going on tonight, and I think tomorrow, actually, in the morning.
Plus, I hear Serbia's coming with their own fireworks, man.
Boom.
That's going to be dull. Sorry. Awesome.
Yeah, if you guys are looking for personal fireworks, we got Soy 6, Soy 6-1 for those who like that action, and that's totally cool here in Pattaya, Thailand.
We really should have driven the spot bus down Soy 6 and then 6-1.
Dude, we missed that
Now,
whole
6,
section.
driving it down 6, that would be a bear. Because I don't know about you. I mean, you've walked down there just like we all have after like 9, 10, 11. And, dude, even with a motorbike driving down there, it's like, dude, get out of my way. This is...
But at 3 p.m., when all the girls start getting there and they're rolling up the doors, it's actually kind of fun because they're looking at you and they're like, want you to come back, but they got to do some work, like legitimate work. Or they do legit work. But they're wanting you to come back and they're wave, come back, mister. And I'm like, okay.
Actually, you know what? Yeah, so actually, I didn't think about that. So I go over on Bukaw last night to pick up Michael, the buddy that owns it, the trucks. And I pick him up at a bar. I think it was called like Foxy or something on Bukaw. And I stopped and, turned down the music a little bit. And the owner or manager or something like that, she comes out. She goes, oh, my God, welcome to my bar. Welcome to my bar. Come on in. And I'm like, okay, I can't park this on Bukaw. Like, there's no space. Did you hear that Bukaw is maybe you're the one who told me it's going to be one way?
Well, that's what I read online, that they're making part of Beach Road, Jomtien, one way. So now it would be Na Jomtien. I found out it's Na Jomtien.
Okay, so down near us.
Right, Na Jomtien.
Interesting.
And towards Dogtown, or I will say it wrong, guys.
Well, that's north. Na Jomtien is us.
Both sides. They're going to do some one-way streets over there. And
interesting.
then,
that'll be weird.
yeah, part of Bukaw, they're looking at that. I don't know how that would work to make it one-way. I don't get it.
Well, because, I mean, Second Road, right, in Jomtien, I mean, it's quite wide in some places. Sometimes it's like 3 lanes each side. It's a 6-lane road.
But it moves.
Yeah, as long as you're not near the construction, right?
So where would you put the other way on Jomtien?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, the way that they sort of do it is usually, and this is common actually in a lot of Thai beaches, right? Is that they'll have the beach road go one way, and then they'll have basically another road parallel to it, many times referred to as Second Road in some cities. They'll have that go the other way, and so that kind of makes sense in Pattaya, right? You make the loop. But as far as Jomtien, like, I don't know, because there's no way they're not going to have Second Road be 2-way, right?
Yeah. So you guys who are listening in, I mean, what do you guys think? What do you guys think? A one-way road in Bukaw would be cool? Would it be safer?
So that's
is it a safety concern? Is that or
here's
traffic?
Here's the interesting thing about Bukaw, right? Is because it is so tiny and it basically can barely fit like 2 lanes.
That makes it cool.
Well, yeah. Plus the fact that you can't go over 5 kilometers an hour, really, right? So it's just kind of like, well,
Not supposed to.
I can't. I mean, it's almost impossible. I mean, unless like you're there early in the morning. Now we went over there one morning, right, when we went into Tree Town, when we were checking that out. What time was that? Do you remember? It was like 8, 9.
I think that was like 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning.
And
I like that. That was fun.
There's plenty of parking at that time. That's for sure. Everyone's sweeping out their old used condoms or whatever.
Yeah.
If
you guys haven't been to Tree Town in a while, and it's completely changed. They've paved the whole thing. They had that paved last year, though. I think they paved it last year, right?
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, I of course remember when it used to be a dirt lot, right? And I would cut through what is it? Soy. Oh God, what's it called? That the one that like goes all the way through now. I can't remember the name of the hotel.
That's not Honey.
No. It's over a couple blocks. Ska Beach. So basically, so Ska Beach, right, would be the end there, and there was like literally a barrier, and then you'd have to walk like up these rocks, and a motorbike could barely fit through it. And then a few bars went in or whatever, and so it's very interesting how things sort of morph, how things sort of expand here in Pattaya. But I mean, who knows? Here's the thing that with Bukaw is you could say, okay, great, they're going to make it one way, and then I guess you could arguably say if they make it go towards Pattaya Thai, then you could take Pattaya's second road in the opposite direction, the way it goes now. But I mean, to do that, I mean, I hope they're not going to do construction, because I can't even imagine the backup if there would be like construction on Bukaw.
But there's always construction here. Always.
Second road is really ripped up, like in both places, right? So second road Jomtien, second road Pattaya. What the hell?
Every year since I've been coming, it's always ripped up. Every year.
That's
right, Mike. See, Mike's grabbing the chair. For those of you who mentioned about, do we need chairs here?
Oh yeah. Well, see, here's the thing: is I didn't think about it actually, but my lower back. Oh my God, I'm so old. Here's how old we are.
That's
Gracie
what 6'1" soy 6'1" was for, right? Your lower back.
I think actually I may need to go over there. For a site survey.
Yeah, I think so.
That's what I'll do. So, guys, if you're listening, hopefully you're enjoying it. And do let us know, actually, in the comments online, youtube.com/@TheSpot Thailand, which is actually the name of our socials on many things. Instagram, Facebook, that sort of thing. We're also on Facebook. Facebook.com/TheSpot Thailand is our page. We also have a group over there, 95 FM The Spot. And we are, in fact, at 95 FM. Here in Pattaya, 95.0.
In the studio, guys. In the studio.
We have a brand new studio to us, and it's turning out pretty good. I mean, we had it painted, and that added a little bit of sort of, calmness to it, I suppose. It got rid of some of the nicks on the wall and that sort of thing. And so we've upgraded. We're going to be doing some more live streams, though. That'd be another thing we should reach out to the guys for, which is like, where do you recommend we do a live stream? Potentially tomorrow, maybe Wednesday morning.
I like to do it tomorrow morning. Be cool.
I think it would be. I don't know where we would go, though.
So what does Johnny Cupcakes look like?
Oh, he looks like a friggin' stud. That's the real answer, I think. And he's. I don't know. From the neck down, it's Adonis qualities, pretty much. But
large and in charge.
Indeed.
That's what I heard. Yeah. I don't know. That's just what I heard.
Large Marge and in charge. Absolutely. So what's your DJ name? That was the other question.
I don't know. This is coming from Joe. Joe, what do you think? Give me one. Let's have it.
Yeah, that would be a great thing. Because we I was just going to say we dicked around, but no, we didn't Richard around. It was Rick the Brick.
Yeah.
That was one of them.
The Butcher.
Robbie the Butcher, which I really like, but I can understand the negativity behind it and people being kind of like a little bit turned off, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't butcher anything.
Paul, thanks for coming by, buddy. Appreciate it. Went to high school with Paul.
Wow, cool.
Yep, he's back in my hometown hanging out there. Thank you so much for watching. It is 8:49 p.m. there.
Watching on Facebook.
On a Friday. So hopefully things are going well back there. One of the things that I know that we didn't get this as bad in Southern California, but man, I got to tell you, the whole time change thing in New England, man. I mean, you're talking dark at like 4 p.m. That is brutal. Absolutely brutal.
Where'd you say? Where's it dark?
New England.
Oh, I didn't know that was a country.
It's a region. And they like it because, of course, it wasn't England. They're like, oh, no, we're newer.
We're new.
We're going to
have... It's
kind
of like New Mexico, right? Like, is that part of Mexico or is it not part of Mexico?
Definitely not part of Mexico.
It's a cleaner version.
They have a lot of Mexicans. They have more probably Native Americans there, but that's that sort of thing. Wow, I like that one. What do you think about that?
What do you got?
For your DJ name.
Hard Marshmallow.
Interesting.
Wow.
I don't
I don't
know.
think I've ever met Joe, but hey, buddy.
Yeah,
Thanks, Thanks.
yeah, I know, Paul, right? I mean, dude, when is it? 4:15? It's brutal. One of the things that is awesome, of course, about New England is the fact that in the summer it stays light till like about 9:30. But then, of course, by contrast, because of the tilt of the Earth, you get the disappointing dark early, and it doesn't get light until later, too. Whereas over here, I would argue it's pretty much 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Hasn't that been your experience?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
And cold at 78 degrees.
It is interesting, right? I mean, how you just absolutely acclimate it. Because a lot of people say, like, I could never live in Thailand. I'm sure you've gotten this from buddies. They're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, it sounds like you're having a really good time. Watched your videos, that was great. But man, oh man, I mean, it's just way too hot over there for me. I could never handle it. And I don't know about you, but of course my response is to them is great. Then don't come. Because I don't want to hear you.
I don't want to hear you complaining.
Yeah. Because you're probably complaining already more than I can relate to back in your home country.
You know what's interesting is Mike's over here is the only one I know who wears long sleeve shirts, and it'll be blazing.
That's sort of, but of course I wear shorts, right? Short pants. Yeah.
Who doesn't wear shorts?
I have always, I don't know what it is. I remember like, I can reflect back to being in like junior high, and it was always like Oxford shirts, it's like the button down collar thingy. And so when I had these made, I was just like, well, yeah. But I think the other thing too is that at the time I had these long sleeve shirts made, it was basically the beginning of COVID, and I was traveling all over Thailand, right? And I would rent these motorbikes, and I would drive around, and then I would come back after a day of riding, and my arms would just be
burnt
red. And I would be like, dude, it was like SPF 50. Like, what am I going to... And I hate it. It's sticky. So then I would watch all the Thais. Well, what do? It's 150 degrees outside, and they're like neck to ankles, completely covered.
Completely. And their face. Their face is covered, too.
And they're not sweating. I'm like, how did you accomplish this, So I think that's one of the reasons I do the sleeves though too. It's probably because I also have pretty lame arms. Because I mean, let's face it, I type on I use a keyboard for a living. I don't lift weights. So I mean, I don't have the muscles. But
so we've given a couple of pro tips just kind of sporadically on holiday travelers. Let's do a couple for people who want to live here. And I'm going to go to you, Mikes, because I know you have some a pro tip about this, and I'm springing this on you.
No, that's fine.
Let's talk about this. I mean, I got asked about my insurance. And I believe it was Jimmy who asked me, or one of the guys who I'm getting ready to bring here, and they asked me, well, do you have insurance, or how do you get insurance, or what is the medical system like in Thailand? I'm so scared. I mean, that was the kind of impression I got, but really what I want to know is, insurance in America is, for me, is $1,200 a month.
Yeah, right.
And I'm 53.
Right.
So
and you're a non-smoker.
A non-smoker, and yeah.
Right.
I'm kind of fat. I'm really fat, but
Does that go into it? I can't remember like what they do to make the rider. Do they ask you do they calculate your BMI, height and weight? How do they?
When I was in America, they didn't on my insurance. I just bought the premium insurance.
Yeah, right, because you don't want to screw around.
I didn't want to mess around with health checks and all that. And I did a health check, but I mean, health check is blood pressure and that's it. But I have high blood pressure. So tell us about insurance and what your thoughts are, pro tip wise.
Well, the thing I will say is that the good news for you and me is coming from the United States. We basically grow up believing that we need insurance for everything, right? So we need auto insurance. Whereas in the UK or Canada, for example, I mean, the last thing you think about is health insurance. And they're like, oh, I just have this ID. I just walk in and I'm like, hey, how you doing? I'm a citizen. Like, take care of me. Which is the same sort of paradigm with the Thais, right? Yeah. And so not completely. I mean, they do need to pay into the social system. So here's a couple of tips, is that if you're coming over here, now you preface this with guys that are thinking about living here, but I'll just back up a little bit and I'll say guys like, for example, your buddy Jimmy, who's here for 1 month, you definitely want to have travel insurance. And there's like, every single YouTuber has done a cost of living video as well as has a YouTube link to like.
I've done one.
What's your one? Is it?
Safety Wings.
Yeah,
and
Safety
you can
Wings.
Go to my website at whimsmedia.com and go to it.
And one of the things about Safety Wings that I will say is they were very clear that they wouldn't cover COVID during COVID. And so therefore, I don't have a whole lot of trust in them because they're like, well, there's a disease out there, so we'll cover everything but that. I'm like, okay, that means you're useless. But it's travel insurance. And COVID's over, basically. And so it's a great solution. It's, what is it, like $50 a month? And they cover, do they even have?
Yeah, it's $48.
Do they even have a cap? A lot of these travel insurance things like have absolutely no top end.
Yeah, I don't remember. It was like 3 million or something like that.
US
I
or
don't remember what the cap was, but it was very high.
It's significant, yeah.
Yeah, it was significant.
So that's for travel insurance. I highly recommend and have used, sadly, my insurance, Geo Blue. And Geo Blue, I would submit, is absolutely one of the best against Bupa. Bupa's pretty good too, but is one of the best travel insurance carriers, because I can tell you that what happened is we walked into a hospital, several, unfortunately, because I got really sick. And I gave them my card, and they called, and that was like literally. In fact, I sent them a message on my phone from like the gurney in the ER. They're like, "Don't worry about it. We'll take care of it. What's their fax number?" So I asked the nurse, like, "What's your fax number?" She comes over with it, and then about, I don't know, several minutes later, she comes back with a document that they sent that basically says, "We will cover everything." And unlike in the U.S., where you basically show up in the ER, and if your leg is like broken, they're taking care of you, right? And I don't know whether it literally is some law or whatever, but at the end of the day, it sort of feels like no matter what, if you go to the ER, you may have to wait a long time, but depending upon, like if you walk into the ER in the United States and say, "Hi, I've got chest pains," you're getting in pretty quick.
That's the only reason why.
Yeah, and so at the end of the day, you know, having insurance over here, it's just like, it's the safety wing, if you will. It's the safety net to not having to worry about things, because I have this sort of paradigm of life, and the way that I live is, what can I remove from my life that's a distraction? So there are many distractions that can happen to expats over here in Thailand, not the least of which is you get over here and you think, "Oh my God, I watched a video and this guy lived for 800 baht a month like a king," because of course he lied to you and didn't tell you that he's also independently wealthy and just happened to buy everything else. And so therefore the 800 baht a month was his cost of food, you know, and it's just like, dude, come on. So, but in any case, I have Pacific Cross insurance over here. I have had to use them, and they have absolutely paid. And I have 5 million baht worth of coverage.
Wow.
And a lot of you guys potentially listening on 95 FM here in Pattaya, or, you know, if you're familiar with like Pattaya YouTubers, you'll likely remember Kev in Thailand, Kevin Burt. And Kev, sadly, had to go through cancer. But, you know, every experience can be a learning experience, right? If you're open-minded to it. And my learning experience from him, a couple of things, was, first of all, don't wait till you're 60 to buy insurance. I remember sitting with him as he's sitting there like chain smoking. He goes, "You know, Mike, I'm not going to bother with the insurance, and not until I'm 60." And he's 59, and then he gets cancer. So that sucked, right? I mean, it's just like horrible. I had so much empathy for the guy. I'm like, dude, I get it. I get why, because he's from the UK. He's like, "Why do I need insurance? I don't have the insurance in the UK." So anyway, the point is that my litmus, sort of my ceiling, you know, is 5 million right now, but my floor is about 1 or 2 million, because Kev went to probably one of the top 5 hospitals in the country.
Bumrungrad.
So he went to Bumrungrad, but he also went to Bangkok Hospital, which is kind of like an HMO over here.
Yeah, that's where I went.
Yeah, Bangkok Hospital is very decent too. Everyone speaks English, and they're used to having foreigners. They're a private hospital. And he spent about 1.2 million, I think, 1.2 million baht, basically getting chemo. And I thought, okay, worst case scenario, what's going to happen to me? Because if I break my leg, I'm going to be able to. But if I get cancer, then it's like, God, I don't want to have to
roll me over and put me under.
Well, basically that was my thing, but you know, it was like, okay, well, that's maybe the most expensive thing that I'll need, right? So then, but the main reason that I have 5 million is because during COVID, you needed $100,000 to travel, which is approximately 3.5 million baht, and because the insurance companies aren't stupid, they sell you a policy that is either 1 million or 5 million. And if you need 3.5 million, well, then you got to get the 5 million policy. The other thing for guys that are coming over here long term, realize that you may think, "Oh my God, I'm healthy. I'm 46. I don't need to get in." I will, and that could be absolutely true. The sooner you get insurance, especially when you're healthy and you don't use it, you begin getting discounts. I'm at the point now where my insurance this year is cheaper than it was last year.
Wow.
It goes down approximately 20% every year if I don't use it. And so because of that, I'm also in their system. They cannot cancel me. Now, some carriers will cancel you at like 75, which you can understand, right? They're like, look, if you're 150 years old, the chances of you dying are pretty good. There's no way we're going to sell you life insurance, right? And so the nice thing about getting in with a lot of these places before you're 65, at least, is that they basically can't, write you off as long as you keep renewing the same policy. That's a caveat. If you have a policy and you're like, you know what, I don't need the $5 million, I'm just going to re-up. What that means is basically you're not, just because you're changing policies and potentially even getting a bigger one and giving them more money, then you're basically a new customer. And so a lot of them don't necessarily renew. But anyway, so those are just sort of my tips. Have you got insurance yet over here?
Yeah, I have AIS insurance.
Oh, yeah.
Because I like the Bangkok hospital.
AIA?
Is it AIA?
AIS is our cell phone. Yeah,
you're right.
So it's AIA. Okay.
Yeah, AIA. But not only that, Kitty is very familiar with that because that's what her Thai agency gave her, and that was through Siam Paragon when she worked at the mall there. That's the insurance she gave, and she said it was very good. And my agent, who spoke perfect English, answered every question.
Right.
And of course, it helped that she was married to Phalang for the past 20 years.
Did you get it down here in Pattaya?
I got it in Bangkok.
Okay.
And I wanted to make sure it covered me in Pattaya. It was very, very important. So, hey, take a peek. We got Eat Out Pattaya here online with us, visiting.
Ryan, what's happening, buddy? I think he's in the Caribbean now. Last time I talked to him, he was coming out of Fort Lauderdale, and he said there were 50 knot winds, I think.
Well, this dude comes back in January. I can't wait to meet with him and have him in studio and give us some inside outs about travel. This dude's traveling everywhere.
I have to absolutely say thank you and so much, Ryan, for you remember the
drone footage.
The drone footage you did of the antenna over there at the transmitter.
Do we have that footage by any chance?
I have it somewhere, but the more important thing is that I was able to give it to Lucas, again, Ride for Kicks, and he was able to use some of that and show not only, of course, it's a neat drone shot and then you can see all of Pattaya, but it gives you a good example of like where we're reaching, right? Because if you guys don't know, the way the technology works for FM is it's called line of sight. So if you're sitting on top of the antenna, basically everything you can see is where people can hear you, and then of course there's extra. But yeah, thanks a lot for that, man. I really appreciate it.
That guy.
I do want to touch on that Robbie cheesecake. That's pretty good. Bobby
that came from Joe. It should have been Robbie cheese steak.
Up top, guy. There you go.
It's good douche.
Like Steakums?
Like
there's a joke there somewhere.
Like Steakums.
From Soy 61. Yeah, so chemo can be considered outpatient in Thailand. Need to look at a policy when purchasing. Very good pro tip, and I will also say that was one of the... So as far as like the not having distractions, I don't want to have a copay. I don't want to have to deal with anything.
I'm sick. Get me in.
I told Gracie, I said, look, here's how it's going to work. You fall over and you take your card. Someone comes over and they say, well, you just hold up your insurance card if you're in Bangkok and you say Bhumengrad. That's it. Just take me to the best hospital, top 5 in the entire Southeast, Asia, quite frankly. Great hospital. And so I like to do that. I don't have to deal with, policies. And the other thing, too, is that sometimes you'll be like, oh, I have $5 million, or I have 5 million baht, for the sake of argument, in coverage. And that could be like a lifetime thing, or it could be an annual thing. And then some of them be like, oh, yeah, you have 5 million in coverage. But, of course, each individual operation will only cover that to like 100,000 baht or 1 million baht. And so that's what I actually made sure I clarified recently. Is I said, what does this cap mean? She says, well, the policy that you have covers you like for an individual treatment of 5 million baht. And then that's 1 year. So in other words, like on December 30th, I could have something that costs 5 million baht. January 2nd, we could have another one. Heaven forbid I need to just really reach into it and do that. Finally, I will say that, it's not illegal to have 2 insurance policies.
Really? Can you
stack
them?
Right. And because at the end of the day, a lot of people will get an insurance policy for health, and then they'll get what's called the infamous umbrella policy, right? Which also covers you like for everything else that the other ones don't cover, right? So some people will do that. Ideally, one carrier wants to sell you both of those policies. And the reason I know this is because I actually had 2 policies at once in Mexico. I didn't do it intentionally. I was like, the other one is expiring. I'm going to renew this one. And it was like overlapped by a month. In that month, there was this crazy ass storm, rips the roof off of my house right on the thing. I had like literally like an 80-foot sunroof. And basically it was like, kind of a total loss sort of thing.
Yeah.
And so my attorney's like, oh, well, we can apply for both of these. I said, well, that's pretty sweet, But again, at the end of the day, I mean, you're paying 2 premiums, right? So I mean, it's not like you're doing anything, weird. Now, some policies will say, do you have another insurance policy that's a carrier? And going back to my initial statement about Geo Blue, If you're in the U.S., one of the reasons that GeoBlue is so inexpensive for travelers is because you actually have to have U.S. insurance as a carrier. I don't know why, because every time I've used GeoBlue, additionally, I've used my U.S. one. So I literally get paid twice for like the same thing. For example, I had Kaiser Permanente. They cover you 100% anywhere in the world. And I came back and I made a claim with Kaiser and I made a claim with GeoBlue, and they both sent me money. So
they're sending you the money? I mean, I didn't know they sent you anything.
Okay, so GeoBlue, they will do direct bill if the hospital
which I like.
is competent. But if you're in the Philippines, then there's about a 50-50 chance, depending upon the city you're in. If you're in Manila, you don't have to worry about it. If you're in Cebu City, it's no big deal. But if you're like in the middle of like some crazy province, or you're down in like Palawan or whatever,
nice,
then I have to pay cash. And then and they know it's travel insurance, and they know you're going to countries that potentially aren't as modern. And so therefore I literally came back with a handwritten receipt that this lady gave me for like a pillow and, diarrhea. I don't know what they charged me for, but I literally submitted. I'm like, there's no way they're going to pay me for this. Sure enough, paid. It was like $100.
Bang.
Great.
I like getting money, guys. Hey, Nick is coming in a couple of days. So Nick, who I've done a bunch of YouTube videos, he will be here in a few days.
What day does he show up?
I believe he comes in on the 22nd.
And is he doing the month thing as well?
He will stay exactly a month. That's right. That's his holiday every year. And he's only 23 years old. I mean, Nick, correct me if I'm wrong.
When do you know? Because, I mean, it's a year later, right? So he's got to be a year older.
Yeah, and I think he's come now 3 straight years. This will be his 3rd year.
Oh, really? I thought last year was his first.
No.
When did he come before that?
He came before that, where we had to get the Thailand pass and all that headache stuff.
Did you come over with him, or was it just him?
No, I came over with him.
Okay.
No, I bring him up, bring him here, and he checks it out. Yeah, he's 23, and he's 23, and he has a great time. I mean, could you imagine being 23 here in Thailand, single dude?
So considering I got sober at 24, if I came over here at 23,
you'd be dead.
I would not have made it to 24.
Yeah, you wouldn't have made it.
Because
But let's say you did make it, and you're sober you're not doing anything hardcore.
Meaning, let's say I came over here at like 25.
Meaning you're drinking coffee and a couple of beers. And
yeah, because that's sober.
I mean, what street would you hang out on? Let's hear it, because this is kind of good information. Mike's, where would you go at 23 years old, knowing what you know right now, if you had a couple of beers here and there and you weren't doing any hardcore drugs, and a single guy? You got to mention as a single. Mike's is not single. He's not available. All you ladies watching,
I know,
listening.
It's a huge disappointment, isn't it, sweetheart? Yeah,
available.
I know, doll.
I'm just asking him the question because I got people coming from the States. So let's hear it.
So
where would you go, buddy? Where are you hanging out?
I can tell you that when I was 43, I was single. And I was basically acting like a 23-year-old, that's for sure.
So where are you hanging out?
Well, okay. So if you're single and you're young and you're looking to explore, let me first tell you that there is no city in the world like Pattaya. There is no street in the entire universe like Soi 6 or LK Metro, or quite frankly, a lot of areas in Soi Buakhao, yeah. Walking street is common in several cities, but at the end of the day, it's basically the Disneyland version of red light districts. I would say come over and definitely go through the whole massage experience, learn a little bit about it, because you're going to, because I mean, again, let's face it, in the U.S., right, you get a massage, they wrap you in a sheet, they don't go anywhere near oh my God, they don't even touch your glutes or anything. It's just ridiculous, right? Yeah. They're so friggin' uptight. And so over here you can do that. And yeah, the infamous happy ending. You can just Google that, and I'm sure you'll get a number of videos that are totally inappropriate. Don't watch them at work. So go through that. But the other thing too is the whole soapy massage thing, because a lot of people,
crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy, and a lot of people will be like, what's that? It's like kind of weird. Now again, I'm talking to like single males, right? That like they're not, you're not cheating on anybody or anything,
right?
But have the experience, because it's one of these deals where it is not so. It's one of these things that it's not really looked down upon like it would be in the U.S., right? So in the U.S., you and I grew up, and it's like if one of our buddies went with a prostitute, we'd be like, oh, dude, what the hell's wrong with you? Or a
massage. Or they went to a massage parlor and be like, oh, my God, that's a...
Well, yeah, I mean, oh, my God, what are you, a heroin addict? Like, how are you a total degenerate, whatever? And it's just a different experience over here. So that's the bottom line.
Are you a pervert?
Yeah, you're pedophile, right? Oh, my God, she was 5 years younger than you. How dare you?
Yeah.
And so come over here and experience that. Now, that said, we're talking about Thailand in general. That is like 3% of Thailand. The rest of Thailand, you like once you get out of Pattaya or you get out of, it is very different. And the Thais are, I mean, I'm also Canadian, so I'm a little bit biased, but one could argue that many Thais are like the nicest people on the planet.
And I enjoy that about Nick. So the cool thing about Nick at 23 years old, yes, guys, he goes out there, he parties, we hang out a lot, we go to all these different soys, but he likes getting out and doing stuff. Mm-hmm. He actually likes getting out. This is a guy that went scuba diving and encouraged me to like, hey, go get your scuba diver license, and we're together. So, and if you guys don't know this, Nick is an amputee. If I can mention that, I know I've mentioned it before.
One I can't remember, like left leg.
Yeah, one of his legs. I mean, he gets a discount on shoes. That's all right.
Wow, that's a pretty sweet deal.
Sweet deal.
Nice.
Buy one get one free. I love it. And anyways, he's paddling away and making it, and it was tough. And here I am being a big biatch.
Were you? Wow.
Yeah, I was. I don't like swimming. I'm not a swimmer.
You don't like swimming, but you like scuba diving?
But I like going scuba.
Well,
you got to swim.
You got fins. They're like twice the size of your legs.
Exactly.
Right? Enormous. Yeah.
You got fins. You got air. You got this thing where you push the button and it blows it up. This
regulator.
Yeah. It blows it up, and now you're floating to the top. So it's actually pretty darn cool. The fact that Nick here likes to go out and do stuff. So if you're somebody who likes to do stuff, if you're missing a leg, arm, finger, I don't know, missing whatever, come to Thailand. Why not?
So that's actually a great question because, of course, in the United States, right?
Last night, real quick. Last night, the guy we hung out with last night in the truck, he's an amputee.
Yes, but he also has a prosthetic limb. I mean, in other words, he wears pants. You can't tell.
I didn't know until he said, "Oh yeah,
he said something."
Yeah,
actually. So did you? I thought this was really neat. So he was like walking. We were driving down the street, right, and he spotted someone who also had a prosthetic limb.
Yes.
And they like waved to each other and stuff. I'm like, that's kind of cool, man.
There's a whole community.
Some
here.
allegiance. Yeah,
well, he was telling me there's a whole. What was his name? Can we do a shout out for him?
Q. He calls himself Q.
Q. Okay, yeah.
He's a wonderful man.
Yeah, and if he's listening in, Q, we're talking about you, buddy.
And here's the thing. How do we know Q? Well, we had a YouTuber meetup over at 1669 the other day, Saturday, week ago today, right after our live stream. And it was gone. And, again, random guy, right? Now, remind me, he came over because he's friends with Derek, the guy that lives in our condo?
Yeah, so he's friends with Derek, who came to our YouTuber meetup, and we were talking. I met him outside, and then he came up, and then he's like, "I've done radio." I'm like, "Really? Okay."
Yeah,
and
he did Radio Disney.
And
in the
Derek,
US,
right? Derek brought him over, and I'm like, "Go to Mike's over here," and I'm queuing up Mike's. No pun intended. Q.
Well said. Nice
and,
work.
And sending him all over to Mike, queuing up his talking with different DJs, people like that. So if you guys don't know, we're at TheSpot.fm here in Pattaya, 95 FM, and we are hiring.
Yeah, you know what? I tell you, we need a DJ. And by that, I mean a club DJ, but also a personality. Because a lot of DJs, while they're very talented in moving song A to song B and mixing them and basically making the crowd entertained, they don't really get on the mic and they don't do anything because to do that in a nightclub, it's weird, right? Because the speakers, the entire sound system is not designed for microphones, right? It's not designed to be a public address system. Basically, it's got a completely different, footprint as far as audio, and so therefore, you turn a microphone on, you can't really make out the person. But we need that kind of person because we need to be doing live shows. I think Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday, that sort of thing. I mean, there are these markets around, and we want to be able to get out there. And but it's tough because a lot of guys that I've met. Well, shoot, you were like the fourth or fifth guy that's come up to me when I had Kiss FM, who was there, and all these other guys, with genuine in there. They're like, "Oh, I totally want to work for you. I'm going to be here. Awesome." And that would be,
gotta show up, man.
Well, and then 2 weeks later, they leave, right? And so it's like, all right, I get it. You have a life, and then they're back in their inbox in the United States, and I'm like, all right, well, that's different because I'm fully committed to living here. This is my home, right?
Yeah.
This is my home. This is my business. So it wasn't until you showed up then you were like, oh, I actually have, I do web stuff and I can do it from anywhere, and I want to do it from Thailand. I want to plan on making it, more permanent over here. So that's, but as far as hiring goes, I mean, we met another guy the other night, nice enough guy.
The British guy.
Yeah, and he wanted to be a DJ, and I'm like, well, I want to drive a Rolls Royce, but I'm unwilling to make the first payment. And so, I said, just because you want to be a DJ And then I send him an email like a couple of weeks, or no,
Oh, yeah.
less than a week later.
This is the guy who works in his basement.
You got a demo? No, that guy was a dork. No, he was amazing. He was from, no, this is the guy that we physically met.
Oh, the British guy.
Yeah, I said,
the British guy.
I said, hey, so you got a demo for me? He goes, oh, well, actually, I'm back home in the UK. And at the end of the day, he didn't want to be a DJ here. He just wanted some company to basically, fork over a work visa. And I'm like, dude, no, I'm not giving you I'm not going through all that work to give you a work permit unless you're going to, because over here, let's face it, you're working you and I, hopefully, are working 7 days a week. And, we want someone to work for us to work at least 6 days a week, probably awesome. 7. And
that's why we couldn't get Lucas, was it?
What, to work for us?
Oh,
no, he's got his own job, right? Not the least of which is being, comfortably retired and making his YouTube videos. 75,000 subscribers, by the way. I got to tell you, congratulations to him.
We got 1,000.
Yeah, I know. That was cool to finally get back to that. I'm really excited. Thank you guys for any of those that made it. Now, I want to touch on this, though. Robbie's radio name, Fastball, comes in from Mark, your buddy, Mark Eden.
Yeah.
You got to expand on that.
I just think maybe I talked to him about playing baseball when I used to play international baseball.
Is it that?
I used to throw very hard.
Is that?
Yeah, I still can.
It's
actually.
that boring. There's no excitement. There's no he got really drunk one night and.
I don't know, because it sounds like maybe a bong name or something illegal.
Fastball?
I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's actually
highball. I don't know.
What is Nick saying here? They actually don't give me a discount, sadly. He's talking about insurance.
No, he's talking about having one shoe, bud.
Oh, yeah. See, that's the thing. Yeah. I want to be a DJ part-time. Oh, I want to be a concert pianist, Joe, but I'm unwilling to take the lessons. So that's unfortunately.
You don't want to be a pianist? Forget that.
You should see the size of my pianist. I am just amazing when I tickle the ivories. All right, guys, so we got about 10 minutes left. If you don't know, we do this show every Saturday morning, 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m., basically Bangkok hours. We're down here in Pattaya now, and of course, that's because we have 95 FM. The radio station here in Pattaya, the brand new radio station. We are at TheSpot.fm. That is our website. And on the socials, on many of them, we are at TheSpot Thailand. So if you're watching over on Facebook or you're watching on another YouTube channel, please go to the YouTube channel. YouTube.com/@TheSpot Thailand. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, and that would really, really, really make both of us
I'd be very happy.
Incredibly happy. So,
yeah, I'd be so happy that I wouldn't say this about you guys at all.
Oh, yeah. Baseball reference. Okay, got it. There we go.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that at all. So do we have any more pro tips to give these guys? We got some pro tips.
I'm trying to think. Thank you, MJ. Good to see you. Thank you so much for watching. MJ, my sister-in-law, she turns on the Spot.fm on her phone, listens to the app, and her kids fall asleep to it. So that kind of indicates to me that maybe I should play a little bit more, more dance music around the time that children are going to bed, because that's when the adults need to be hopping around. But I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. She's from the Philippines, lives over in Calibo, which if you guys know sort of the topology of the Philippines, then that is one of the places that you go to when you want to go to Boracay. You go into the Calibo airport.
Nice. So you mentioned music, so we have BKK.FM. You guys want a little rock and roll, you go there. Are you changing any format with that, or are you just doing it harder, or what are we going to do with that?
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's going to be a lot more rock. There was some crossover that I would do over there with like some 70s rock that arguably in today's world, 70s rock really isn't a whole lot of rock. It's kind of just like a pop hit. So I removed quite a bit of that, and we're doing a lot more rock, and I got to add some new stuff.
Yeah, Mellencamp's not rock.
No,
do you think that's rock?
Totally. I mean, even like some sticks, like it's just like not. So I don't do a whole lot of that anymore. But yeah, so that's good. And then I got to remove some of the sort of slower. I mean, again, I get that Taylor Swift is incredibly popular, and she's like a global like nobody doesn't know her. But man, some of her songs lately are just so slow.
Dude, I'm sleeping.
I'm just like, how many more relationships can I hear about from this lady?
Well, she's got the new one right now. I mean,
the new relationship?
Oh yeah.
Well, then why does she keep texting me? That's starting to get a little annoying. I'm like, is that why they call her Swift? Because she's in and out of relationships like that?
All right, I gave him a skadoosh.
Fair enough. We haven't skadooshed officially, actually, during the whole show.
No,
skadoosh.
No, you know why? Because we usually skadooshed when we got $5.
Yeah,
That's
hello,
usually
Christy.
what happened.
What's she doing?
I don't know.
She's asleep over there in California doing nothing.
Well, what time is it in California?
Beach
Was it
blanket bingo.
9:20 now, so that means California is what?
6:20.
6:20 is still early enough, guys.
Yeah.
So if you're in the United States listening to us.
Thank you very much, by the way.
Oh, I got Nick. Here we go. Let's cue this up. 20 more relationships. Dude, this is great.
You think?
Oh, at least. Dude, she's young. How many relationships have you been through?
So
Cha-ching.
here's what's funny. So you mentioned like if you were 23 or let's say for the sake of argument 43 and you're coming here as a single guy.
Yeah.
I don't know if you called them relationships, but I had a lot more than that in the first. I was here 3 weeks. I couldn't believe it. Because again, guys, if you've never come over here and you're like fairly open-minded, it's like a kid in a candy store. I mean, it was just like crazy. And
it was a lot of fun, 2019. I'll just tell you that.
Here's why I say that, guys, is because you come over here and yeah, I'm ridiculously happily married. Gracie is awesome, and we together are awesome. We're an amazing team, and I'm not gonna, I don't want to do anything other than that. But one of the things that I think was very important, because I didn't like plan on meeting her. I didn't plan on finding a girlfriend and meeting a wife, that sort of thing. But gratefully, when I had met her, I had already gotten the Pattaya out of my system.
Yes, get the Pattaya. That's a pro tip.
That's
right
a huge
there.
pro tip, because
Huge pro tip.
Don't be delusional. And I love the phrase that you used a while ago: is you do not want to come over to Pattaya if you're unsure. Meaning,
man, totally.
You're potentially in a relationship, and you come over here, and it's like, wait a minute, like you bring your wife over here that you've had for like 30 years, and maybe it's not going super great. And you realize that, you can find someone. And I'm not talking about like going out and buying someone for like 1,000 baht a night. I'm talking about like actually finding a genuine Asian woman that like wants to be with you, that's potentially more attractive physically.
Well, yeah, definitely more attractive. Here in Thailand, absolutely.
So, you don't want to be unsure. And,
younger, more attractive, and that will potentially treat you better. Absolutely. I mean, isn't this why men go to bars in the United States? Is because the women are looking for that. It's the other way around here.
I bet 49% of the guys that go to bars in Southern California do it so they can complain about how lame it is going to bars in Southern California when they get home. It is just so ridiculous.
You don't complain much here about bars coming here in Thailand. You really don't.
But just anything. I mean, beach, mall, you can meet people, members of the opposite sex, or the same, quite frankly. That's the other thing. If you're like LGBT inclined or whatever, man, I would argue that this is a super easy country to hang out in.
Yeah, I totally.
You're going to be able to find your own sort of group of people. But additionally, if you're not in, let's say, for the sake of argument, a LGBT community,
it's fun.
You can totally have a good. No one's going to shun you or anything. It's very accepting, very supportive, quite frankly.
Yeah, I have my Thai girlfriend Kitty, which hopefully she's watching or listening right now, and we go and we'll hang out, and I'm totally up for meeting up with ladyboys and hanging out, and it's fun. It's a good time. Nothing wrong with that.
I think that here's the interesting thing about ladyboys is that as a one final pro tip, I'm going to throw this out there as a ladyboy pro tip, but at the end of the day, I want you to kind of step back from it, guys, and get a little bit more open-minded. But you're going to hear statements from guys traditionally that have never been here, and they're going to use this one. This is the one I love. Oh, I'm going to Thailand this weekend. Oh, really, Mike? Watch out for the ladyboys, is what they say. And I'm like, you don't have a clue what you're talking. So these stereotypes that are grossly incorrect. Okay. I mean, it's one thing to say, oh, wow, all Jewish people are smart and wealthy. Okay. Well, that's maybe, not all of them, but, in my experience, I get that. So that stereotype, arguably, it might, be mildly accurate. But as far as like, oh, yeah, ladyboy, they're going to steal. Forget it. They're going to, first of all, in my experience, as far as like ties, a lot of times they're English.
It's better than ours.
Yeah. It's better than Robbie the Butcher's.
Better than mine.
And so there's that. But the cool thing is if you're hanging out with them, they're attractive. It's neat. You got someone on your arm, I guess. And then all of a sudden, bam, your transmission goes out. She is under there with a set of air tools, dude, fixing that thing right away. She knows.
Changing my motorbike.
Absolutely. She's
Fix the oil.
Yeah. She's like, I could suck the oil right out of this thing right now and put some new stuff in there. I don't know about that. I've heard they can suck start Harleys, but I'm not totally, that might not be totally accurate. All right. What's your pro tip?
Oh, Wow, there's been tons of pro tips today. You know what's cool about pro tips is you kind of think of them just off the cusp. I mean, that's really a huge thing. Of course, on my pro tip, and I experienced this past week with Jimmy, and we'll just go straight at it. So when you guys are getting your Wise card, when you're doing your money, get the Wise app. Don't wait until the day you come here to put money in it. I mean, do it 2 weeks in advance.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Because both John and Jimmy are experiencing these issues. They get their card, and they don't think about updating their card or activating the card until they're right here. Mm-hmm. You can activate it, and then on the app, you just put it on.
Turn it on, you turn it off. If you lose it, you can also turn it off on the app,
which is great. Because it is a pain in the neck to get everything activated once you're already here. We tried doing the whole phone number thing. Doesn't work well. It's been a huge hassle, a lot of time. So you guys manage your money. In other words, get ready for how you're going to spend your money here. Not like what you're going to spend it on. Like if you're going to spend it on ladyboys, whatever. But you want access to your funds. The last thing you want to do is come here and have a couple $100 and that's it. And, get your money organized a little bit.
Get your life organized. You don't want to go to a trip on the other side of the planet and be like, I'll plan it when I get there.
Yeah,
dude,
exactly.
Come on. That's ridiculous. I mean, I get how people forget to do stuff. I mean, I've gotten over here before and been like, oh, crap, I forgot to call Fidelity. Yeah. And then I call them from my cell phone. Hey, I'm over here. And, but.
Well, and then the last part of that is if something happens, have that backup. And I'm a guy of backups. In other words, I have my Wise account. I have my Bangkok bank account. I have my regular credit card account that I can get money out of anywhere in the world. And then I have my debit card. I have 4 ways to access money. At least have 2 of those ways before you come.
Absolutely. And by that, you mean cash.
I have cash, and that's not including
to be
cash.
able to access cash.
You want to be able to access cash for sure. And things are cash here. In other words, unless you live here. For me, I use the bank the
QR
app.
code.
Yeah, QR code. Mm-hmm. But in 2019, man, I probably looked like a drug dealer. I had stacks of 100 bahts in my pocket. It was stacks, dude. I mean, we're talking stacks of 100 baht.
Well, I mean, I was having this conversation with a buddy of mine. I
didn't realize those were only worth $3.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Make it rain. I was probably taking about 30 to 50,000 baht out a day when I was here.
Wow.
For the first time. But yeah, I mean, I spent 10 grand. I mean, it's still a different experience, right?
And that's in getting the patty out of your system. So if you're coming on holiday, I recommend get your finances in order, get them in line. And be prepared to have a good time, spend a little bit of money. Don't be afraid to spend some money. You're coming on holiday.
The bottom line is proactively remove all the distractions because you don't want to have to deal with that over here. One. And here's the other thing. The reason he talked, so the one downside I will say to the backups thing is that I would live that way excessively too. And so therefore when I lost my wallet, I lost 4 credit cards, 2 ATM cards, 2 driver's licenses, an insurance card. Yeah. And that was, I will tell you that I like to try and make, again, I've used the phrase every experience being a learning experience. And the learning experience from that is if you need to replace your driver's license here at basically the Thai DMV, we refer to it as the transport office or the land transport office, it's totally simple. It costs 105 baht per license. Gracie's transfer from the Philippines to Thailand license, 105 baht. I mean, what are you kidding me? It's like less than $3 to get a license in this local country.
Or 60.
And dude, get this. We're not like locals. Good luck going to the California DMV only knowing Thai and getting any degree of customer service and getting out of there for less than, what's the license now? Is it $50?
It's a lot of headaches and
heartaches. It's major. Well, plus you go there and you're like, yeah, okay, great. We'll send this to you in the mail. It'll be there in 2 weeks.
And everybody's angry at you when you walk in.
In and out.
Your beautiful days turned into crap.
In and out in less than an hour, dude. Amazing. I love it here. Absolutely love it here.
Yeah, your day at the DMV turns into crap. But here in Thailand, it's actually nice. I mean, people are nice. They're friendly here.
There is so much over here that is a benefit. In fact, I think I tell you what, guys, here's what we're probably going to do. We're going to talk about, I did a series of videos on Live My Ass Off when I was doing videos regularly about why Thailand. So I think that's probably what we're going to talk about on the next show. But with that, I do want to say thank you guys so much for watching. I noticed that we had 18 concurrently watching, and that's really awesome. Do not forget, youtube.com/TheSpot Thailand, just as our buddy Mariano is so gratefully putting in there. I really appreciate it. Check us out if you're in town. If you're listening on the app right now, thank you so much. But if you're around Pattaya and you're hanging out, please turn your radio or ask the driver of your car to turn on 95 FM. That would really help. And with that, it's Mike saying, I hope you guys are living the dream, because if you're not living the dream, well, then you're just basically not living on the spot. That's all I got.
This is Robbie. Live your best life. And if you're not living.
Have an amazing day, guys.